We got to get to Governor Scott Walker, who's standing by, Governor of Wisconsin, joining us now from Washington. Governor Scott Walker, you're there for the Governors Association Conference, which I look forward to hearing about. But let's talk about, Scott, what's happening in your state, because we've got some new polls. Our NBC News Battleground map shows Wisconsin has moved from a toss-up to lean Democrat from last November. What do you make of that, and what do you say to some who might think that's a little bit due to you?
Well, oddly enough, it might be. I mean, you think about the 3 years prior to my taking office, we had lost 150,000 private sector jobs. It's a new day in Wisconsin. This past year, we've seen more jobs created than lost, and we actually see an unemployment rate that's not only down from a year ago, it's down the lowest it's been since 2008. So I think as people realize it's a new day, we still got a lot of work to do, but I think any time the economy is showing signs of relief, it's probably of some benefit to any incumbent, whether it's me, whether it's a local official, or even the president. And in the end, that's something that both I and the president will have to discuss in our campaigns in 2012.
Governor Walker, it's Willie Geist. You find yourself in the middle of this mired in a recall election. The latest Marquette poll has you 47% approve, 47% disapprove, split right down the middle in the state of Wisconsin. This could be a long fight for you. Special election scheduled to take place in June, a primary in May. How distracted are you from doing the business of Wisconsin by trying to essentially win re-election in the middle of your term?
Well, we're focused, but it's a huge distraction, not just for me, for the legislature. I mean, it's $9 million of taxpayers' money just to run this. Think about the number of kids we could help. Think of the number of seniors we could help in our state with $9 million that we didn't have to waste on this frivolous recall election. But really, I mean, in the end, I think it's amazing after a year of being taxed by out-of-state special interests, the tens of millions of dollars that were poured in, the fact that we're ahead of any of the Democrats in the race, I think bodes well for the election. But I had to work hard to earn the trust of the majority of people in my state 2 years ago. I'm going to have to work even harder to renew that trust with the majority of voters in our state. And I think in the end, when they see that we're heading in the right direction, we've turned the corner, it is a new day in Wisconsin, but we got a lot of work to do to get this state even working even better. I think elections are about the future, and we paint the picture of the contrast. Do we want to go forward, or do we want to go back to the days of the double-digit tax increases, the billion-dollar budget deficits, and the record job loss? I think that's what really is at stake here.
Mark Halpern?
Governor, part of the problem in our politics now in dealing with Afghanistan and education and everything else is the polarization. For a lot of Americans, President Obama has become a polarizing figure. My email box is filled every day with emails from labor unions and Democratic officials nationally and in Wisconsin attacking you. Have you given up being a unifying figure, a non-polarizing figure in the context of Wisconsin politics? And if not, how can you win back people who now wake up every morning desperate to get you out of office?
Well, I think once we get past this recall election, once we get past things, I mean, we brought together, for example, on education, Tony Evers, the state superintendent of public instruction, is independently elected, historically probably more elected with the support of teachers union and others advocates, but he cares about kids just like I care about my own two kids who go to public schools. We worked together over the past year on a number of major education reforms, on teacher accountability, on school district accountability, on our Read to Lead initiative. I think as people see the facts, they get beyond all the money that's being spent by out-of-state special interests, and that's really what's inflaming. A lot of folks behind me in Washington want us to get out, but I think in the state of Wisconsin, when people realize we're in this together and we're willing to work together to move our state forward on things like education reform, on economic reform, and keeping our budget balanced without raising taxes and without massive layoffs like we've done, I think that's when we're going to be able to bring people together in our state.
Governor Walker, Andrea Mitchell has a question for you. Andrea.
Well, hi,
Sure.
Governor. On that subject, what do you think of the debate that has evolved in the Republican Party? Most recently, Rick Santorum saying that President Obama is being a snob for suggesting that all Americans should at least have the option of college. And he was talking about vocational school and 1 year of higher education and community colleges as well. But the whole notion that college is a snobbish aspiration, as well as the conversation that the states really don't have a role in education reform. It should be up to local communities.
Well, I think state and local governments, much more so than the federal government. We talked a lot about this yesterday, and there's common ground between Republicans and Democrats and amongst governors that that's really a state, because most states fund the majority of public education. It's a state and a local issue. And I think, I'll set aside the politics. The reality is people want results, and in most of our states, there needs to be a mix. We need more kids in colleges and universities. We also need more kids in our technical schools, because increasingly in states like Wisconsin, there are manufacturing jobs available in welding and high-skilled machining. We just don't have enough bodies to fill those, and we need to work hard. And I don't care whether it's the president or anyone else. I'll work with anyone who wants to help us do that.
All right, now Sam Stein has a question for you, Governor. Sam.
Hi, Governor.
Morning.
I think it's fair to say that your campaign against workers' public bargaining rights was a distraction of sorts against the economy. What we're seeing right now from some of the presidential candidates is that they're getting distracted by issues much like that, with contraception, with school, with college education. What kind of advice do you give to those people running for office about the ease with which you can get pulled off of a discussion on the economy and jobs?
Well, and you know it. I mean, in the media and in political circles, it's easy to get off in tangents. In the end, what people really care about is, even if they haven't lost a job, even if someone in their family hasn't, they know a neighbor, a friend, someone they play cards with or go to church with, people care about the economy and they're very concerned about it, even with slight signs of improvement. And in the end, I think in any election in 2012, the candidate who best makes the case for how they're going to help the private sector in their state and in the country recover the quickest is the candidate who's going to win. And you got to focus every day. In our case, every day, every week, every month, we focus on what do we do, what can we do to help the people of our state create more jobs, and that's got to be the focal point.
Governor Scott Walker, it's good to see you. Thank you for being on the show.
Good to be with you, Mika. I still got to get connected with you for lunch. I promised that a while back. And one of these days I'm going to get to New York and do that.
All right, either that or in Washington. I like it.
Alrighty.
Thank you, Governor. Sam.